The third and final leg of my trip is 1.5 hours, roughly 50 miles, to my next destination, backtracking all the way through the town of Buena Vista to the ghost town of St. Elmo. And on my way up to St. Elmo, the final mining ghost town on my itinerary, and it's about 8 miles away. Okay, I'm on the outskirts of the town of St. Elmo. I had the first 3 mining ghost towns all to myself. That streak is over. This town is crawling with people, myself included. Well, here's a bit of the old mixed with the new here with this building. It seems a large percentage of these buildings date back to the late 1800s. Wagon for sale, stay off the wagon. Only way you can get on the wagon is if you buy the wagon. This is interesting. I've been here before and never seen all these old relics on display last time I was here. Very interesting. I'm a little too close to get this whole thing in the shot. Seem to have a distinct mixture of the antique with the brand new here. Like here you have an original 1800s building, but it has electrical service. This is very impressive. I feel like last time I was here we kind of rushed through. We just kind of checked it out and left. Since I'm a little bit away from the bulk of the people, I'll try to narrate a little history here. It's like St. Elmo had their first silver deposit discovered in 1875 in what would become the Mary Murphy mine. And the Mary Murphy mine would run all the way into the early 1900s. The town thrived during the 1880s and it peaked at about 2,000 residents. In 1881, the town had 2 sawmills, a smelter, a concentrator, 3 hotels, 5 restaurants, a newspaper, and numerous other businesses. Looks like by the time a fire burnt the town in 1890, the town was already down to just 500 people. Then the silver crash of 1893 seemed to be the end of the town, but St. Elmo was going to rebound. Looks like in 1880, the Denver, South Park, and Pacific Railroad completed a line to St. Elmo, which seemed to set it up to be a long, thriving city. There was even an alpine tunnel west through the Continental Divide constructed. It was a 1,772-foot tunnel, and it was the highest altitude tunnel in the country at the time. It took 18 months to complete. And like I said before, the silver crash of 1893 seemed to be the end of the town. But the town did rebound because the Mary Murphy mine kept thriving long after that. But the mine still thrived, and it proved to be what would keep the town thriving also. It's like by 1891, the town had dwindled to a population of 500. And then the silver crash of 1893 dealt another blow to the local economy and further reduced the population. And then a second fire burned in 1898, destroyed much of the commercial district. And then after they rebuilt, a year later, another fire struck, and it seemed to be the death blow for the town. But what saved the town, once again, a third rebound, was the Mary Murphy mine. Because in the early 1900s, the Mary Murphy mine seemed to be drying up in its productivity, but it struck a huge lode. It found a gold vein that was 25 feet wide. And just when St. Elmo seemed to be dead a second time, it came back a third time, and it was the Mary Murphy mine that saved the town. After coming back from 3 fires and from the Mary Murphy mine drying up, what finally killed the town of St. Elmo was when they closed the railway. They actually took up the rails, closed the railway, they closed the Alpine Tunnel, and that seemed to be the true end of the town of St. Elmo. So the railway closed down in 1922. That seemed to kill the town, and by the time World War II arrived, the Mary Murphy mine was done with its production, and only 2 residents were left in the town by World War II. Would you like to own a piece of Colorado history? It's for sale. St. Elmo schoolhouse. Looks like it's been preserved about as good as anything, about as good as that chapel back there. That chapel was preserved pretty well. I didn't go in because it was fairly crowded. Man, look at that stove in the middle of the room. That's pretty cool. I wish I could get a better look at that desk, but there's a glare. The reflection of a door is blocking it. Let me get a little bit of a zoom on that stove. That's got to be wood burning. Probably smelled like a campfire in the classroom. I have to say I like the original oil burning lamp still hanging with a reflector. That is awesome. There's two of them. Oh, I'm sorry, there's four of them. Looks like the magic window of opportunity has opened and I can get in the chapel. Boy, for a town that had 2,000 people, I bet this was crowded. Now wait a minute, it looks like a chapel on the outside, but what's this business? Locking people up in the name of the Lord? Is it a chapel? It looks like it on the outside. It has the tower with the bell